perfect and holy innocence of God, to accept this innocence, this truth of innocence, is the blessing of incarnation. To accept the innocence of all love and gladly surrender all the made-up identities of damage and being less than, all of the ideas that have been made in the name of an identity, now gladly surrendered, happily surrendered, and replaced and open to the divine innocence and perfection that is waiting to be found within, in the quiet stillness of love. The truth of love calls, and calls to every beloved. Surrender your fear. Surrender your sorrow. Surrender to the light. Surrender in every moment. All that you thought you knew. Every bit of identity that has been made in the name of battle, sacrifice, scarcity, and willingly, happily accept your divine and true self, one with all creation, melting back into the oneness of pure love, the pure love of all existence that has just been forgotten. Every beloved fragmented into what seemed like others through a lens of distortion, of pain and suffering and guilt, but now happily surrendered, returning home to the beauty and perfection of true love. The road is the same for every beloved, to return to the oneness. Every beloved that you see on the road back to love is just the reflection of the divine having just forgotten. The innocence, the peace, the perfection that lies within and is waiting to be acknowledged, recognized, and held as the divine. Each moment filled with the beautiful potential of remembering, the grace that will return you back to the awareness of love itself. Each moment perfect, as all form is let go and all the meaning of form has been let go. No longer willing to give form separateness in the pretense of knowing. For every beloved who walks in incarnation, divine beings surround each beloved, serving each beloved in their remembering, to bring truth and beauty and ease to the journey. When asked for help, help is always given. The willingness to hear the voice of love is the essential ingredient. The willingness to be led back to the truth. And as the mind of separation is surrendered, the lies of the past unravel and fall away and forgotten and forgiven. And the realization that the past never existed other than in a dream of separation. Thank God, no truth is there. In this moment, let love shine. Let love awaken the truth of the heart as you ask for help. The help of love, the power of love, the divine transformation, divine alchemy, all the gifts of God that serve the yes of remembering. And in this moment, the willingness to surrender this day and recognizing that each day being filled with the same thoughts of knowing have no purpose except to be surrendered. Surrendered and disowned, and allow the truth of love to shine forth. In this moment is the opportunity, the gift of forgiveness, the forgiveness of the heart within, forgiving all thoughts of separation, forgiving all judgments, forgiving all blame that has been placed anywhere. And return to the realization that mistakes are what are being forgiven. Mistaken identities that have been made by each beloved now cause for forgiveness. And to forgive yourself for all the false identities that you have given to everyone. The willingness to be free of the lies of the past. Moment by moment. And in this moment, surrendering the energy bodies into the hands of God. Willing for the energy bodies to be cleansed of all the mind's untruths that have filtered down into the energy bodies and expressed themselves there. no longer willing to believe in these false identities, these false feelings of pain and suffering and anguish and resentment, grievances of all kinds. Surrender. Truly wanting to live in the freedom of truth. Moment by moment, accepting healing, accepting love. And the willingness to turn to the divine guidance that is always available. No longer willing to listen to the loud voice of the knower, but willing to drop into the divine silence of love, the stillness, and hear the whispering voice of love, whispering to you, let me show you the way. Let me show you the truth. Let me open your heart and your mind to the perfection of all life. Let me illuminate for you all the made-up stories of the past so that you can see them clearly and no longer rely on any lies that have been made up. All of them surrendered and cleansed. Divine freedom, divine love, divine truth. The return to love. And in this moment, the willingness to accept that this universe is all love. Love and harmony and peace. And that the dreams of the past, the nightmares of the past, the illusions that made those nightmares seem valid, now all surrendered. Each moment, only love. This universe is all love. The sanctuary is filled with love, being all that exists. There is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And within this life force is all joy, all existence, all beauty, all perfection, all truth. Within this life force we live and move and breathe as the divine made manifest. The Spirit of God, the Spirit of love, the truth within. And breathing and allowing. Here in this moment, only love is real. Only love has any worth, any reality. Allow this prayer to fill your heart with the courage, the patience, the strength to walk the way of love. Oh, my Father, give me strength, give me courage on this road, to be a child of yours on earth and walk the path the Master showed. Oh, my Mother, help me love, give me comfort to be aware, to obey these sacred teachings. It was your Son who showed the way. Oh, my Master, your compassion can see through this pain, for it was you who came to earth to release us from these chains. Oh, my Father, I am yours. Give me comfort to be aware. Send your angels here to guide me on this sacred path of the sun. Oh, my Father and my Mother, who rule the world of love, send your angels to receive me through the gateway of pure love. To obey these sacred teachings. Obeying is something that the ego thinks it has figured out, since everyone has obeyed the ego so readily, without question, until there is a time of subtle awakening to the realization that this insanity cannot be the truth of real life. The willingness to obey all the sacred teachings that have been sent in divine abundance, to follow the way of love and to be willing to learn each moment the divine gift that is offered as it is willingly received each moment. All I am, all I am, all I am is given to me. My mother gives to me, my father gives to me. All I am set free. I can forgive, I am forgiven. My mother gives to me, my Father gives to me, here to receive, here to be forgiven. I will receive, I am forgiven. All I am, all I am, all I am is given to me, here to receive. All I am, here to be given, all I am. All I am. To enter into the awareness that nothing of what you thought you were is the truth of who you are. Nothing of the old identity of being a body, believing in the limitation of time, that all that you thought you knew is here to be surrendered, and to forgive that mistaken identity that you've held on to. Now gladly releasing, opening to the awareness of your divine self. not a single self, the divine self in all union, all concepts of a self surrendered, opening to the pure self of oneness. The willingness to forgive all the mistaken identities, all the lifetimes, all the belief in time, all the belief in scarcity, and all the belief in battle. Surrender and open to the pure love that you truly are. Only for your love, dear Mother, we are here for healing. We are here to remember the truth of love. We ask for this love in this moment to show us the way, to allow the truth to be revealed in this moment of healing. All for the truth of your love, we ask for the guidance of love to show us the way, to no longer consider ourselves as separate from the divine, with the willingness to reach through and accept the divine healing that is so necessary. Show us the way. Apenas por vosso amor, apenas por caridade, a vos te damos louvor, ó Virgem da castidade, apenas por vosso amor, atendo nosso chamado, ajuda nosso cessar a curar a necessitados, apenas por vosso amor, apenas de caridade, a vos te damos louvor, a Virgem da castidade, apenas por vosso amor, ajuda necessimado, ajuda nosso cessar a curar a necessitados. Heal what is necessary. The relinquishment of knowing. Heal what is necessary. Opening to the trust of truth, that the divine light of God, the spirit of transformation, knows completely what is necessary for your remembering. To rely on your mind that made up separation to begin with is completely upside down and inside out. The mind that made up pain and suffering and separation and the belief of separation in no way can serve the remembering and the healing into love. To surrender the mind into the hands of God and truly ask, heal what is necessary. Heal my mind. Heal everything that I've made up. I'm willing for everything that I have made up in the name of pain and suffering and hatred to truly be healed. I'm willing. I ask for this help. I ask for this love. I ask for this blessing. I invite the power of love to transform all the past as I surrender the future to be unlike the past. As I humbly ask, teach me to love. Teach me the truth of love. Teach me how to walk in this world and yet completely remember the truth of love. Show me the way. Heal what is necessary. I surrender to the wisdom. I surrender to the light. I surrender to the truth of the holy union of all love, the oneness. Let this be your prayer. Let this ring and sing in your heart in every moment. Don't let your mind, the mind of the past, the mind of separation, be the familiar ogre of demands and condemnation from the past. Let the mind be healed of all lies, of all distortions, of all misery, now surrendered. The yes of your heart and your willingness is the essential element. The power of your yes, the power of your willingness to learn, to open to the divine teacher of love. That is all love, all harmony, all peace, all joy. And healing, asking truly for the healing of the fear of love. To fear love is insanity. And to realize that you have not known love. You have not been aware of love. Let the truth of love open to you in your willingness to accept that divine truth. All of love is waiting for your invitation. But to remember that every time you turn back to the mind that made up separation, made up hatred, that turning back out of habit, out of willfulness, out of determination to be right, in that turning back to what you think you know, you close the door again. So every moment you have to reopen the door with your willingness, with your yes, with your acceptance, and begin again. Beginning again, affirming love, saying yes to love's guidance in every moment. Can you be so lost in love that you are singing love songs with God all day? Absolutely. Can you be so lost in love that the idea of having judgment and condemnations of anything or your own personal assessments has no interest, has no draw to you anymore, because you are so lost in the love, in the truth, in the freedom, in that divine communion of all life, the willingness to accept that love. I put myself in the hands of God, only love is real. Divine grace, divine love, divine breath, divine truth, only love is real. I've put myself in the heart of God, only love is real. Divine breath, divine heart, divine truth, divine grace, only love is real. I put myself in the hands of God, only love is true. Divine strength, divine love, divine truth, divine breath, only love is real. Can your heart be singing all day? Absolutely. Is that its natural state? Yes. The heart sings all day in its natural, aware home of love. It doesn't sing to prove anything. It doesn't sing to be admired by itself. It doesn't sing to capture anyone's attention. It sings because it is so filled with love that it has to sing. It has to sing. It has to praise God in every moment. It has to want that divine communion with God in every moment. It can't stand anymore to be in the belief of any type of separation from the truth of love. This is the unlocking of the heart. This is the opening of the truth of love, where the devotion, where the exquisite longing for God lives in peace, because the truth is trusted, because the remembering of all that is guaranteed, because there is nothing else that is wanted but to remember. All of that love is in the heart that is within you, but it's locked up. It's locked up with barbed wire and shields made in the name of the belief of fear and panic and resentment and hatred. And only the calling of love, Mother, come and heal what is necessary. In that yes, the divine answers and opens all and melts away all the shields that have been made in the name of insanity. The willingness to be healed, the willingness to let the divine instruction of God truly enter into your awareness and be led in every moment. And to realize that even in the journey of returning is the realization I'm returning to what already is. I'm returning. I'm coming home to what has always truly been the light and perfection of God. That is all that exists. Only love is real. Nothing else has any meaning, any value, any purpose at all. The sad game. 170. The sad game, blame, keeps the sad game going. He keeps stealing all your wealth, and it leaves you bereft. It steals all your wealth, and you have given it to an imbecile with no financial skills. Dear one, wise up. Blame keeps the sad game going. Blame is an accepted element of the belief of separation. From the moment of incarnation, there is a belief that blame has to be given. But blame is also one of the most feared elements, because every beloved, even in their defense of being right, are terribly fearful of blame. And the ego uses blame as one of its favorite weapons, because as soon as you even get a hint that you might be blamed, you want that blame to be shot out of a cannon and sprayed on everybody else, anyone but you. This is the survival identity of separation. The belief in blame, belief that it has legitimacy, is truly what keeps the sad game going. Blame is an automatic extension of judgment. It's very easy to walk in the world and believe that as you're walking in your day, that it's perfectly natural to be assessing, cataloging, appraising, putting meaning on everything, because underneath the surface you believe that that is what protects you. That without all of that knowing, you would be an easy target. You would be at the mercy of your righteous suspicions of others. To believe in blame and to believe in judgment, where blame comes from, touches every element of everybody's life. You believe that the world is a cruel and sad place that is justified to be cautious with, and that blame is always proven right. How does that happen, that you can always find proof and justification for blame? It's because you see what you believe. The power of your mind, whether it's being used by the ego or it's surrendered back into the hands of God, is a powerful place of love or a very powerful weapon. And not to recognize that Everything that you think you see is coming from your own mind of your past. You will never see with your knowing anything other than the past that you are trying to let go of. You have nowhere else to see anything from except your own mind. You may think that your seeing is original. And in the ego's strategy, the ego uses the strategy of differences to make you think you are actually seeing something different that is unique to you because you think you see it differently. Except that everything that everyone sees in the world of separation is coming from the mind that believes in hatred and battle and scarcity and wounding. So that's all that you can ever see. Then the ego makes it more complicated by believing that you actually have an assessment evaluator within you that can decide what is good and what is bad according to the Bible by you. The commandments of yourself. The rules that you have made up, that you have decided are legitimate and authentic. But all of it is totally fabricated, and it's all exactly the same. One of the most amazing realizations that is necessary to recognize is that every single thought, assessment, judgment, opinion, every tiny little element of separation, every little tiny bit of irritation, every little tiny bit of upset is totally fabricated, but it's all just as fabricated as the most heinous crime that you can imagine within the world. It's all exactly the same. The reason that that is so shocking is because the ego's full intention is to have you believe that yours are legitimate and all those others are the ones that are the problem. If we could get rid of the real troublemakers, everybody else would be fine. And then you could just go along with your judgments and opinions and your assessments, and you would be totally justified because you found the problem. But it's all the belief in separation. And it's all equally the belief of separation. There's no one that is more lost than someone else. How is that possible? There are only two elements. One is an illusion and one is truth. There is love, there is fear. Fear is made up and fear is hatred. The other is love, which has no relevance in the world of separation. Even though the word love is used in the asleep state, it's all just a word that's being used that doesn't really mean love at all. Because in the belief of separation, the fear of not having enough, the fear of unworth is running everything. The identity of scarcity is running everything. The belief of being a body, of having a separate identity, all of the parts that go with that, all of it has nothing to do with love. The learning of love is the journey. The love is already within you. It isn't that you have to earn it or fix it or build it, become better. That's all the hatred of the ego. Love is what you are, but it's been buried. It's been buried under an identity of knowing that has decided you are a body, you will die, you can be hurt, you can be betrayed, you can be thrown away, you can be hated, you can be seen as less, you can be despised. Or you can believe that you are giving approval. Who is it that's giving approval of good and bad? Whose commandments are these that you've made up? The commandments of the ego. Always be fearful. Always be suspicious. Always be vicious. Always see through lack. Always see through pain and suffering in the past. Those are the commandments. Love is calling to you to be recognized from within. The journey of love has no recognition in the journey of the ego. None. There's no crossover. There's no overlap. There's no similarity. Lies do not become truth, and truth does not become lies. The ego is lies, not to be made for condemnation. They're just illusion, but they're built on the belief that lies are real. When you identify yourself as what you think you know and you defend it, how many? Everyone has, there's not even a question how many, because it's a natural part of the ego identity to defend yourself, to defend your identity, because that's what the asleep mind, the trance state, is active all day long in defending itself, trying to prove even to yourself that you have worth. How do you prove to yourself in the insanity of the ego that you have worth? In every way you possibly can. By defending your habits, by defending your decisions, by defending your rights, by defending your ideas, by defending your being right. all to try to prove worth that you can never prove. Your intrinsic value, the light that you are, the beauty and perfection of your divine self, your divine spirit, has nothing to prove. That's where the peace comes from. That's how peace is recognized, when you are no longer actively engaged, participating, agreeing in the insidiousness of trying to prove your worth. How many, everyone has a story about the perception that someone is challenging your worth, that someone on the outside is challenging your worth, and that through that challenge, you enlicit the help of your identity as a victim to prove your worth, because there is such a deep fear in the forgetting, in the identity of separation, in the sleep state. There is such a deep fear of being found out. When you are comparing yourself with others, which is a habit of the ego that is constant, making comparisons. Everything is being compared all the time, mostly unconsciously. Compared for value, compared for worth. How are you behaving? What are you contributing? What are you proving? It's all for comparisons. It's all to prove your worth, which is totally fabricated. Your worth is completely untouched by any of the insanity of the mind. Your perfection, the light that you are, is completely held, waiting for you to remember so that you can reclaim it. The Holy Spirit holds it for you. All divine beings hold it for you. We hold it for you until you're ready to reclaim it. But it doesn't go anywhere. It's right here. It's in the center of your heart. And it's in the mind after it's been cleansed of the insanity of separation. It's in the awareness. Completely whole. Untouched, because love can't be altered. Love never changes. This is why you can be very guaranteed that what is called love within the world is not at all the truth of love. There is a love. There is the love, the truth of the universe, that is all harmony, all perfection, that has been just forgotten and needs to be remembered. That's the journey. I will remember. And the only thing that stands in the way of remembering is the refusal to remember. That shows the insanity of the mind that would refuse to return home to love, to want to delay it in the need, in the addiction to be right, and to believe that the fear of letting go of a false identity would be a sacrifice, that you would actually be sacrificing something by letting go of the identity that you've actually hated forever in your belief of incarnation. That's all that's in the way. The identity's made up. Where you can really see it is if you embrace the truth of love, the truth of God being the divine wisdom of the universe and all in harmony and perfection and ease and peace. And that truth is all that there is. That light is all that there is. And that truth, that light, it couldn't, not in any way, have any relationship to blame. And yet blame seems to be so acceptable. But what the ego also does is the ego plays games of, maybe you have a relationship with blame that is blame light, like a lighter version of blame, so that you're not totally condemning someone to death, but you're just irritated and disgusted. Blame is what keeps the sad game going. And it is the fear of blame, because you're afraid of being found out. Because you hold within you the belief that you are your thoughts, which are that you are not enough. Would God make something that was not enough? It's not possible. But when you believe in the story of separation, you believe that it's authentic. When you believe in the past and you aren't willing to recognize that the past is your prison cell. The past is the prison that you've made to say, I am without God. And I'm without God because I'm not worthy of God. None of that is true. It's all fabricated, all made up. If your prayer every day, all day, is, my eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose: to be given the Christ to use to bless the world with miracles. To begin to accept that you have a relationship of offering miracles by blessing and holding the truth of every beloved. And as you hold the truth of every beloved, you begin to open to the Holy Spirit and the realization that that blessing that you're offering is blessing you. That you are part of that blessing that you are offering. There's a flame up there. It's not a problem. It's just to look at it. See if it's, yeah. Thank you, darling. My eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet. Here's the perfect expression, manifestation of my hands, my tongue, my feet are all in the blessing of love. There is no problem ever. To be used by love, to be in service of love is the acceptance, truly the acceptance that there is no problem, that there is there cannot be a problem. The only problem is that you believe you're separate from God. That is truly the only element that is being conjured up, is the belief that you are separate from God. And in that belief of separation, you battle. But the reality is that there truly is no problem because you are not separate from God. Just because you think you are separate from God does not make it so. Yes, you have believed in your knowing and in your mind's insanity, and you have believed its authenticity of its ideas, which the primary idea that the mind holds is, I am separate from God. And all thought comes from that thought. It is born of that thought. I am separate from God. And all thought that is born of that thought is as insane as that thought, because it's a complete lie. This is why you can't put your reliance, your trust, your value, your life, your direction in the thoughts that are in your mind, because they have no truth in them. They are built on the belief that you are separate from God, and you are not separate from God. Just because you believe you are has no merit to it at all. It's made up. It's fabricated. Who do you believe? The mind that has been filled with pain and suffering and battle, or do you believe in the sacred truths of God that are given to you by all the masters that promise you that there is no separation? That you've made a belief in separation, yeah, it doesn't make it true. And that is the primary element of returning, is the refusal to accept the idea that there is a problem of anything, because all that you're doing is playing with fire of lies. That's it. It's just made up. The gloriousness of the recognition, I made it all up, is so glorious that it will burst you out of your identity of separation into truth. How is this possible? Where would this power come from to burst you out of the lies of separation into the truth? By the acceptance, by the glory of the acceptance of, I made all this up. There's not an ounce of truth in it. To the ego, this looks like a condemnation. This looks like you know, I'm bad. I made it all up. And it's completely upside down because it's actually the glory of God to recognize I made this all up. I don't know anything in the mind of separation. I'm not available to know anything of truth because I'm filled with knowing of lies and made up identities. There is no separation. Now, the confusion of that is to believe that everything that you see and everything that you think you know and everything that you experience is valid. And in that belief, you keep getting fooled into believing you're right. But that's why the Spirit of love is calling you not only to sacred teachings, but to trust in the divine rather than in what you know. Because what you know has never brought you anything but turmoil and the belief in battle. That's all that the ego has, is a belief in differences, condemnation, death. Absolutely top of the list, death. Everybody terribly fearful of death because you have bought the lie that you are a body and terribly fearful about what happens to it. Every single thought that you can have about being hurt, being unsafe, is all about the body. It's completely about the body. Remembering that the physical body is an element. Then you have the emotional body, you have the pain body, you have the mental body, you have all of these bodies, these energy bodies that are all part of your identity of being a body. And you believe in their validity. When you experience your mind's insanity going through your body into the energy bodies and relating itself as fear, as upset, as disturbance, as danger, whatever you want to make of it, you believe in its validity. You have given it worth. You have believed it from the moment that you had your first feeling. You believed it the moment of incarnation, the first time that you had a sense of hunger. That sense of hunger said, I don't have enough. That belief has been there since incarnation because you came in with it. It wasn't made by the story. The story was made by the belief of separation. I made it up. And in the insidiousness of the ego, you not only made up your own identity, you made up everybody else's. And you could argue about your identities that you have given everybody because your identity of everybody is different than what everybody else's identity of everybody else is. That's where wars come from. Differences of opinions, differences of how things are seen in perception, all coming from your past and you believing that you're right and everybody else is not right, to protect and defend what you know. It's all made up. All made up. Imagine the freedom of someone saying to you, you know, you're a piece of crap. That's how I see you. And the freedom of the recognition, there's nothing to defend here. This poor beloved has no idea of the truth of God's love. Here, let me offer it to you. Because there's nothing here that has anything to do with being a piece of crap. The only reason that you would think that you would be at the effect of someone saying to you that you're a piece of crap is because you believe it about yourself. All that they are doing is reflecting to you what you already believe, because that's all that anybody can do, because there is nothing outside you. Everything that you think you see on the outside is your own wanting to prove your worth, believing that you are damaged, believing that you are less. And the ego's way of playing this game is to hold a carrot out here of the possibility of getting something, but its intention is to seek and never find. So you're always seeking the proof of your worth. You're always trying to muster up some better self-image that will finally bring you some solace. But it will never do so. Not until you surrender the belief of separation and the belief of anyone having anything of unworth. Because as long as one beloved is held in unworth by you, you will not see the truth of your divine self, because they are your divine self. Every beloved is you. There is only one. I don't see separation. There's nothing here that is separate. You can believe it all day long because you believe that the body identifies separation and looks different and is different and has different values and different assessments by the mind that made up separation. None of it's true. Everything that has to do with the body that you keep changing in order to have some kind of improvement is a direction that has no value in it. Is there something wrong with the body? No. Is it to learn to love the body as the instrument of God? Absolutely. Because now the body is a place of hatred. The hatred is because it is constantly betraying in the eyes, the mind of the ego. It ages. That's its number one element of betrayal. That it's taking you to death in the belief of separation is its number one betrayal. That it falls apart, that it isn't foolproof, that it isn't made of plastic, is the sense of betrayal, because you believe that the body is who you are. And while you believe that the body is who you are, you're not available to meet the divine spirit that is truly who you are. The body is not the truth. The divine spirit that is waiting to be discovered within is asleep, because you have not activated the truth of that divine spirit that you are. Everyone is aware of being dispirited, unconnected to spirit. Spirit is shoved away, and you believe that that is legitimate, except you can't shove away the divine spirit. Your divine self cannot be harmed in any way. You can deny it. You can believe that you're right, but there's nothing that actually changes the truth of love. In every moment, what are you choosing? Every moment. To recognize the spirit within, to invite the awareness of the divine spirit that can't be altered and is the truth of your divine self, to meet that spirit, to open to that divine spirit, let it come out of its hiding place, refuse to accept the barriers that you have used to defend your heart, the willingness to come forward and be available in the recognition, I cannot be hurt. I cannot be hurt in any way. I'm not a body. Divine spirit cannot be hurt. And the willingness to step into that courage to open to the divine spirit and let the Holy Spirit lead you there. Because you can't find the truth of your divine spirit without the guidance of truth. Your ego identity is not going to help you find your divine spirit. It's going to send you on every wild goose chase, and has sent you on every wild goose chase since you incarnated. And in every lifetime sent you on every wild goose chase, thinking, oh, this time I'm going to figure this out because I'm going to prove my worth, as if that would lead you to your divine spirit. And it won't. It can't. The addiction to wanting to prove your worth is all just distraction. And to protect and defend your identity is another distraction. How many times a day are you defending your identity? By wanting to prove your worth, or wanting to project onto others and get rid of the self-hatred and put it on somebody else. And the ego has all of these ways of subtlety with it, because we can't all go walking around in our ego identities going, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. You're a piece of crap, you're a piece of crap, you're a piece of crap. So it makes up other stories. But don't be fooled by them, because they're all the same. Wanting to like someone for their behavior is the same thing as saying, I hate you. I will like you if you behave yourself and you act appropriately according to my commandments. I have my criteria. And all of this is the surrender. All of this is, and the willingness to accept, I've been mistaken. And to really illuminate the games that the ego plays. There is a an element of healing that is essential, and that is honesty. It's a very funny thing because the ego knows nothing of honesty. No one's has any honesty because it's all about protection, defense, and lies. So there's no honesty. And it's a place, the honesty is a place that has to be invited because it's an element of love. Honesty. The honesty of what am I believing? Instead of playing a game of, no, this has righteousness. I'm helping everyone by telling them where they're wrong. Instead of, I don't know anything. And honestly, I want to heal this false identity of unworthiness. And I want to truly heal the hatred that I have believed in so deeply and see it honestly. I want the Holy Spirit to show it to me honestly, not as a witch hunt, but so that it can come out into the light, out of the shadows of games of being played, unconscious games, and bring it to the light so that it can truly be surrendered into the hands of God with honesty. Say, I believed in this. I believed in this self-hatred. I believed in the hatred and projection. I don't want this anymore. This is not the truth. I surrender. I surrender my fear. I surrender the sorrow. I surrender to the light. The honesty is consistency. For a long time, there's a going back and forth, in and out, in and out, in and out, remembering, forgetting, forgetting, remembering. Truth, lies, truth, lies, truth, lies. And the more that you let go of the fear, the more honesty you're willing to embrace. The more honesty that you embrace, you become more consistent. The consistency is where you shift from pain and suffering to peace, and then to awakening. To really affirm peace, and that by your calling to only offer peace, to only accept peace in every moment. Is this a thought? Is this thought that I am thinking peaceful? If it's not peaceful, it is not of God. It's made up. And I surrender it. I want to surrender it, and I want to remember and come back to peace. Peace is the absence of fear. Why is peace not recognized? Because fear is so prevalent, because fear is the main ingredient in the belief of separation. But as you surrender your fear, surrender and let go of that, you're not willing to accept fear as valid, however it shows up. No. Peace is the true state of love. Peace is the truth of your divine self, your light. Can it be so simple? Yes. Healing is not complicated. The ego, completely complicated, purposefully complicated. It's like a maze that you can't find the lies very easily in the maze. Truth is not complicated. It's very simple. If it's not a thought of peace, if you're not experiencing peace, you're making something up. moment to moment, the willingness to return home to love and to let the divine alchemy of God transform what you offer. And there is a divine transformation. The divine alchemy of God is real. It is real. This healing from pain and suffering and the belief of piece of crap to the light of God was all divine alchemy. There was no special ingredient here. It was the yes. It was the willingness to have that honesty, to accept the honesty through that teaching, to want to be taught, to want to listen, to want to come home, and to let the longing for the remembering to be full bloom, to sing and praise God and sing of truth and trust in the journey of love, to trust all the divine teachers that have been sent to you because you are so loved. That love offers all of the power of God to you in every moment, and all you have to do is join with that power of love and invite it in and want to listen to the guidance and the teachings that are all for you and your remembering. God would not leave you without. There's nothing manipulative in God. There's nothing lacking in God. There's nothing missing. You are that divine reflection of the power of the universe. All you have to do is accept it and live it and let love lead you. What would you have me say? What would you have me do? How would you have me look at this? And how would you have me respond? I don't know. What is most helpful? Teach me of love. Teach me, dear God, of the truth of love. Show me the way. I so want to remember. I'm willing. I'm willing. I'm willing. And to let go of the sad game of blame in every instant. That every beloved is the light of God, and no one has done anything, not one thing, to change the truth of love. That is the healing of humanity. That is the return home. You have it in the power of your choosing to serve that love, to be the miracle worker that has been called to serve love. Humbly, sweetly, gently, trusting. Make me an instrument of thy peace as I let go, as I release. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken to the living Christ in me. To allow that prayer, make me an instrument, show me the way. And the me starts to fall away. Me starts to disintegrate. And the divine light of God is revealed that has always been the truth of who you are. right here, right now, always. You are the light of God. All of the universe is within you, and you are within the entire universe. One. Just one.